Welcome back to another casted game on Golden Pit, and on the west side of the pit this time we have Farmer Joe in the green as the English, and on the east side in the purple we have Bluemoon as the Roos. So this one Bluemoon sent to me. He asked me to check this out, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gets on. And Roos is really interesting now because the bounty has changed. The bounty system has been completely reworked, and where before you had to do the mini game of killing all the deer as you go round, you don't have to do that anymore because they only get bounty from when they gather. We can't actually see the bounty as it's going, but we might be able to flick in and out of the UI. But let's take a little look at the scouting path for both of these guys. So it looks like Farmer Joe hasn't realised that the bounty's changed, so he's still killing the deer, and the Roos now will only get it once they gather that 350 food, and I believe it's every 10 food they drop off they get 1 gold and 1 bounty, something along those lines. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's going to be a little bit slower to start, but they also get it from sheep now, so that should really help. And then as they go on, if they get the high trade house with those free deer, they're just going to continue to build that free gold and the bounty as well. So later on I think they're going to be even stronger than they were. If we take a little look over at Bluemoon's side, we can check out what he's doing. So he's scouting around, doing a nice job, 6 sheep so far, and it looks like he's going to be able to get most of this side. If we check out, he's gone for the hunting cabin there, that's got a nice little bit of passive gold. No additional scouts as of yet, so just the 1 scout, and he's doing what I think most people were expecting from this build, which is no additional gold gathered, because you do actually get it from the sheep. So if you see here, we've got 8, let's see, come on, let's see one of these guys. So that's going to go up to 10, and then we should have just the 1 if we see. There we go. Boom, and then that's in. So basically they just need to drop off another load of food and they'll be able to age up at a fairly reasonable time, so that's still pretty strong. So what are we expecting from this matchup then? Well, both of these civilizations can be super flexible. So Rus obviously gets the Kremlin if they go for that, which means that they can play quite defensively and go 2TC. They can use it defensively and not really make units and go fast castle. They can also go heavily into those feudal knights, which they get access to. So they are doing really well. Bluemoon's going to have to make sure that he doesn't run out of sheep because he's hoovering them up very quickly. So if we take a little look at his scout, he is going to be coming home and dropping off the 8 sheep that he's got. If we take a look over at Farmer Joe, he's only got 4, but he is the English, so what does he need sheep for when he can go for those very cheap farms? We can see he's going for the council hall, so we imagine it's going to be a longbow rush, but I have recently been seeing quite a lot of people doing council hall and then a cheeky 2TC with some longbows to defend rather than going for the king, so that may be something we see. He's aging up with quite a lot, so I imagine the idea is to try and rush out as quickly as possible, but with those gremlins and with the defensive Kremlin there in a really nice position, Bluemoon's going to be pretty safe for the time being. So if we take a look, he's going to be covering the stone. He's already put the mining camp down ready, which I imagine is going to be these villagers here exactly. So heavy on the wood, and he's going to be going for that second TC. Now where do we think he's going to drop it? I can probably already see it's probably going to be right here on the deer, I would imagine, or it's going to be on the TC and pushing the deer in, something like that, because then you get all the bounty from these guys, and then you secure another deer, another gold vein, and you've got another back gold vein here, which with one little wall there you can defend. So this is actually a pretty good spawn for Bluemoon. If we take a look over at Farmer Joe's side, his is a little more exposed. The wood lines are actually in perfect position for Bluemoon. A couple of little short walls and the whole back of his base is secure. For Farmer Joe, it's not exactly the same, but we don't see any in queue just yet for him. So if we switch over, so he can make longbows, but he's not producing any just yet. Going very heavily on the wood and nothing on stone just yet. So whether he's planning on dropping some of those early farms now to get his eco pumping, we'll have to wait and see. So Kremlin is up, and we've gone for the stables. There we go. So I was wondering whether we might see a pro scouts play. I'm really interested to see whether this takes off for the Roos, because now they get the bounty from the deer, being able to basically run around and collect all the deer from all over the map and bring it home potentially could be a really strong play for them. And because they get all of that passive gold, then using that 250 275 gold for it is not so bad. I've also seen some people doing it with French because of the eco techs are a little bit cheaper, but it looks like we're just going to be going standard roost 2TC with a knight popping out at just over 515, something like that, which is a pretty decent timing. If we take a little look, there's no barracks yet, a tower on the gold. Okay, so not quite sure what Farmer Joe's doing here, because he's very, very heavy on wood, almost 300 now. Not many on food, so he's just got enough to keep his villagers producing, and he's still rallying over there, and he is not producing any units. So it's not really a longbow rush. Whether there's longbows going to come out, not quite sure. This also doesn't look like there's a 2TC because he hasn't got any stone just yet. So yeah, really not sure exactly what the plan is, but I'm sure our English friend, our Farmer Joe, is going to have an idea. But let's take a look. Is this knight going to be able to do some damage? With that English bell ringing, Farmer Joe should know. He should know that there's a knight on the way, and that's one villager down. So this is where if you don't react, and we've all been there, you're going to lose a lot of eco very quickly. Nice little movement there, so it's caught another villager instead of the one he was attacking, so only one vill down so far. That's really good value, but we definitely don't want to see this knight running all the way back. Hopefully, there we go. He's going to sort of start circling around. So we've got barracks coming down now to defend against the knights. Still no longbows in queue, and they are going for that second TC. So this is, I would say, a bit of a strange way of doing it. Personally, I think you'd be more likely to go for the stone first because it's more exposed, and then going for the wood because it's secure and you get the straggler trees afterwards. So normally you see most people going out onto the exposed resources first and then back, a bit like we saw Bluemoon doing over here. So oh, the TC on the boar. Okay, not sure I'm a fan of this one because you do get the boar, which is obviously great, loads of bounty, but this one does actually secure more resources. It's a bit easier to defend. The gremlins can run from the TC straight over, and also you can still get the boar. You could even like pull it just past this wood line and then kill it over there or something. But anyway, a TC on the boar is a TC on the boar, so that's all good. So some walls going down there to keep that knight out, so really nice little play here. This is something that I definitely think is a good idea, so it forces the knight to run under TC fire if he wants to do that damage. We can see there's a lot of gold in queue. There's a lot of gold floating now, so whether he's eventually going to be moving to the castle age, but I think he definitely, Farmer Joe definitely doesn't want to be floating all of this gold. He wants to be using it for his tech, so definitely stuff like double broadaxe, and he's using that wood to also get some farms now as well. So he might be making too many, and he's not going to be able to drop that TC just yet. Villagers going down, taking the boar. See you later, mate. You're going to make dinner for all of those roost soldiers that are going to be coming out. Just 2 knights out so far, just on the centre here, just grouping up and saying hi, getting some reconnaissance information as the English are doing that. So he definitely wants to be trying to get these down. We've got archers in queue and no scout. This is where Bluemoon definitely needs to pop a little scout out just to get that vision, especially with all these stealth forests. It's really tough to see what's going on, because if you see, until he pops out, he has basically no vision. I do like the spy sheep. That sheep could move in, but if we take a look, oh, he's going to get that charge off, those spears just out of position. So this is something that people have taught me along the way. So when you're mining stuff like this, what you need to do is you need to put your spear where this villager is, and then you need to hit this stand ground command, and you put another one on the other side and stand ground. Then it forces the knights to commit. Like here, those spears are not doing anything, and the villagers are still getting hit, and they can run off. So you also want to make sure that the spears aren't going to chase them like this, because otherwise they can't do that damage. If we take a little look, we've got archers streaming over, a couple more knights in queue, so it looks like we're going to be staying in the feudal age for a little bit longer. There we go. So a longbow coming out now, trying to do a bit of damage, and the knights circling, ready to hit those villagers. Almost enough for that TC, so he just needs 10 more. I think he's already got it, so he needs to pull these guys off and drop it down. Where is he going to put it? I imagine it's going to be on the berries. Here would be the best spot. That's where I would go, because then it sort of double defends the base. You've got room for farms in between and around here, and then you can also drop a defensive white tower somewhere if you like. These archers definitely need to try and get these spears down. Don't getting caught. Don't get caught under the TC with the spears. That knight's, it's a lot of value lost if it goes down, because if we take a little look, remembering that it's 240 resources, that's a lot. So, and then the longbows, taking those, you definitely need to make sure these archers don't get caught, because the longbows do have that additional range. Have we seen the TC dropped? I'm not sure I like that position, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't... As the English, you don't really need to secure anything, but a little short wall here, and then dropping the TC down here. Obviously, there is a knight defending, so Bluemoon's thinking along the same lines. Great minds think alike, but now all of his farms are going to be exposed, so that's not really that good. And now, look, that knight is just running in. Even under that TC fire, his health is still pretty strong with that armor. Just pulling out just before that villager gets it, but still... Tithing, but look at the damage that TC's doing. I think that knight might go down one more shot. 3 health. Oof. Okay, very, very close. Nice little save there from Bluemoon. Definitely doesn't want to be losing these guys. So I imagine we might be seeing some text coming in now. We want to be getting range defense against the English. They've got those longbows, but he's not making any more units, so I'm not quite sure what Farmer Joe's plan is. Maybe Farmer Joe's not so sure what Farmer Joe's plans are yet, but it's always these games that I love, something where you can't quite figure out what's happening. It's just so exciting. So, and also looking at this spawn, look at this, you've got berries and the ball back there, but this is so easy for Bluemoon to cut off, so the spawn really hasn't worked in his favour. And there we go. That they're being dropped down again, going in the TC. That knight is down. Are the archers going to get any damage or just take some? Now this is where you want to be really careful not to throw these units away, because then you lose your military advantage. Obviously he's idling those villagers. That's still really good. Only 1 on food at the moment, and that means that both of these TCs are not going to be producing constantly, so you definitely need to make sure that's the case. Back on stone. Okay, not quite sure exactly what the stone's for, unless he's going super greedy 3 TC, but he can't be, surely. Okay, I'm not sure. But if we take a little look, Bluemoon's doing a really good job here. He's out on the deer at the top. He's got a scout that's noticing all of these archers flooding across from the archery ranges. So, and there's a knight coming in, just poking, idling, really nice work. The stables is going down. In this case, he's already in longbows and spears. I think he needs to stick to longbows and spears and just commit, or he needs to be using some horses to go over and do damage. He does also have access to men-at-arms as the English, so that's also potentially something he could do. But yeah, so Bluemoon's out on the deer over here, so he's getting all of that bounty. He's already got the ball here. So if we take a little look, if we jump out of the interface, where do we go? Apologies for the shift. And then if we go here, there we go. So where's the bounty? Where can we find you? Let's see. Come on now. It should tell me somewhere, no? There we go. Okay, perfect. We're on Bluemoon. So he's on 520, 530 almost now. So he's getting very close already to that tier 3, but he's already got 10% gather rate and generating 25% more gold. And he's just got the resources there to click up to castle as well. So this is working massively in his favour. And it looks like even with that 2 TC, if we head over here, the villager numbers for Bluemoon are looking really strong, so Farmer Joe hasn't quite had the eco to keep them going. I think going so heavily on wood early on was potentially a bit of a mistake. So both of these are producing now, but we are going to see. And Bluemoon's going for Abbey of the Trinity. Okay, so where are we? Come on, here we go. So he's going to be able to get those warrior monks out and get those relics, and that's going to boost his eco even further. Personally, I think the High Trade House would be a good call because of that free bounty, but he is almost going to get there anyway. But he is going to have to now go out onto these little deer packs scattered around to try and get the rest of that bounty, and maybe this one over here. Let's take a little look. So the army is circling. Only a couple of knights and archers so far, and Farmer Joe is massing up. If we check out his base, he's massing up here, and there's a horseman sneaking out, I think, to try and do some damage. Nice little short wall there to protect his base. Very tight wall here, so this is something that I see a lot of people doing, and I've been fallen foul of myself. You don't want to build your walls so close to your base like this, because the archers can stand here and they can still get your villagers, and especially if you're against longbows, or you're against like OTD crossbows that have that extra range, or even Mangadai with a Khan Hunter, they get that additional range and stuff like that now. You definitely don't want to be like that. Also, leaving a gap also probably is not ideal with the walls. So this one, I would have chucked the wall here, and that would have given you a lot more space, and then either being greedy and walled around the ball that way, or just a little short wall round the back here somewhere, and then you've still got this stone. But all of the gold is front for him, which is really not great, because if we look at Bluemoon, he's on the 2-back gold and he's living his best life. So we've got the Abbey of the Trinity printing out the first warrior monk, and it's rallied out to the relics. So I think this is definitely the right. Oh, it's not on the relic, it's actually on the sacred side. So I think that's a bit of an oversight. You definitely want to be going for these relics. I think going for this one's a good idea. Also trying to get these two contested ones here, and then the center would be a really nice plan. So you can see the villagers running away there. I think they've just taken out the horsemen with that wooden fortress and running back to safety. The scout standing there manning the base and making sure he knows what's going on. And we have Boyar's Fortitude coming in, so now all that cavalry is going to be having an extra 25% buff to their health, and we've got horse archers. And I can tell you from personal experience, being against horse archers is no fun, especially when you let them mass up 50 of them and they melt your whole army, but that's a different story for a different day. These archers running around, have they found some damage? They're all just getting in there, and really nice work here. I like this. 8 villagers on the deer, 8 fit in the wooden fortress, none of them left out to be picked off by those archers, and we can see that the monk is getting the sacred site. There are only 2 sacred sites, so being able to secure these with a keep is a good idea, but definitely want to be getting those relics first. Usually you get your relics first and then you go for the sacred sites, unless you're Delhi, and then you can do sacred sites in the feudal age. We can see eco-techs coming in now for Bluemoon. I would love to see some military techs because he's got quite a lot of military as well. We got the White Tower, and where is it? Oh no, I don't like that position at all. So with the White Tower, you definitely want to be defending something. Yes, defending your base. Where I would put this would be here. I would put it right on that front gold. Then you could very easily just wall up here, keep that relic to yourself. You've got loads of food on the back here, and you're securing that front gold. Now it's going to be out in range, but it's going to be quite easy to poke. If you've got archers standing here, you'll be able to take that out quite easily. And then this is still raidable even under the White Tower. So yeah, not the best position. This central base is going to be super defensible. White Tower and 2 TCs all firing down. Nobody's going to want to attack in there, but you're still going to be able to do a ton of damage around that. So we can see the sacred site's been taken, and he's going to be getting that relic and taking it home now, while other units are massing up and going over to the base to do more damage. If we take a little look, we've also got another one going out to get this relic over here. Really nice work here from Bluemoon. That's definitely what you want to be doing. If we take a look at Farmer Joe's side, he's hit the castle age. Let's oh, we're still on eco per minute. Sorry, anyone who likes seeing the villager numbers. I thought I switched it, but clearly it's gone back when I pulled back into the interface when I was looking at bounty things. So we've got a couple of longbows sneaking around at the bottom there. I think they might have thought they could go there, and clearly Bluemoon thought the same because he built a gate where there's no entrance. But here we go. There's a fight. So these horse archers are really good, but they are really weak to ranged attack, so these longbows need to be targeting those guys down. And these guys can shoot while they move, so they definitely want to be moving and shooting as much as possible. So that looks like it was a pretty bad fight for Bluemoon, taking a lot of damage, and he's definitely going to want to get some warrior monks out to heal those guys up. Because once you hit the castle age, if you've got your religious units and you can keep them alive, that's really good. Definitely an oversight here. There we go. Yep, we got level 1 ranged defense. We definitely want level 2. With this amount of gold in, we definitely want to be seeing all of those eco techs put in to keep everything pumping. If we take a little look over at the base, we can see massing up on the front, and also here we're going mass spears, and we've got siege. Now this is one of the benefits of the English, that their keeps basically work to produce anything they want, so they don't need to make a siege workshop when they hit castle. They can just print it from there. We've got the armor Chad upgrade for the men-at-arms coming in, so I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot of those very shortly, and they will really do some damage because they are very, very chunky boys. Let's take a look. So the army here sitting there, I think Farmer Joe needs to be very careful. He's going to have to go over and do some damage to Bluemoon, otherwise his eco's really going to take off with that bounty. There we go. My brain is going to catch up eventually. If we take a little look over, let's go back to here. So what's his bounty at? So he's literally just about to get to 750, and 40% from his hunting cabins and the extra 15% gather rate. And if we check out his hunting cabins, wherever they are. There we go. So like this is on 14 at the moment, and there's loads dotted around. There's another one over here that I remember, and there's one here, so 30 per minute. So this is where it's going to really start taking off, and we might see some hunting cabins dropped around. Going for more stone as well, so whether that's going to be for a keep in the center to secure that gold, because on this map you need to be really careful to secure that. But protecting the sacred site, I quite like this. The horsemen are going to get in and do some damage. Is Bluemoon going to notice? Oh, they're going straight for the archers. Okay. You definitely want to be stopping this keep, I would be saying, but don't idle them. There we go. Keep them going. And the archers are going to take out those horsemen. They definitely too many horsemen there. Too many archers for the horsemen, and they're running around. Quick. Don't let them get the villager. Oh no. We're looking through X-ray vision, but one of them has gone down, and the villagers have done that. So spears taking out a knight or two at the top. Villagers coming to drop another keep, but the spears are there. Don't get caught, guys. Run, 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 run. And he's... oh, that's super greedy. Look at that. Gathering stone right outside the sacred site. Oh no. Come on. Come on. Oh, we're going for the Wallalo. Are we going to see it? Come on. This is what we like. Villagers baiting them. And... Wallalo. Is the spear going to notice? Oh dear, well that didn't quite catch them. The villagers still getting taken out, but there is another warrior monk coming over to try and do damage. Brace getting it, so now he's stopped in his tracks. We need to see some military up here. This one spear is doing God's work. Look at the damage this guy's doing, just running around, causing chaos and idling all of these villagers before they can get those towers up. So protecting the sacred site here, we do see that Bluemoon has got all of the relics, so his gold eco is going to be ticking along nicely. Actually, the one thing he's lacking now is food, but floating all of this, we want to see some farms dropped. Oh, horsemen coming down. Are we going to see them protected by the knights? They've run away preemptively there. The warrior monk, and oh no, the horsemen, are they going to get them? Or wooden fortress going up, and they've just about made it out of there alive. We can see there's a scout causing trouble there as the relic just walks straight past them, and the military there coming up straight in the wooden fortress. They're just out of range, and oh, these knights are going to get caught by those spears. Oh dear, no, quick, run away. Oh no, so this is where that English infantry is starting to mass up. We can see 74 military units here, but even on 2TC he's still not caught up with that villager lead. Not really any difference now, so he should be way ahead. So these TCs are definitely idle. There we go. See, no villagers in queue, and this is something, if you're going to go 2TC, you have to be producing, because it's such a huge investment. 700 resources, that's basically like your castle age. You could get to castle age very quickly if you didn't do that, if you were going for the fast castle. So making sure you've got your villagers in queue, otherwise even on 1TC you can outbalance them. The military is really starting to stack up. Not sure why we're building rams at home and then going to slowly march them across, but maybe there is method to the madness. Personally, when I've got archers hiding over here, this is where I'd be building my rams, and then you could sneak them round for a little sneak ram train. We've got a couple of mangonels unescorted, so just a little tip from my own personal experience: if you've got mangonels, protect them with your life, because they are very, very expensive. So don't run them around like this, because they will get caught out by cavalry at one point, and you're going to lose all of those resources. Because if we take a little look, they are 600 resources, and that's 400 wood apiece. So you definitely want to make sure you keep them nice and safe. Hopefully we're going to see some more production drop for Bluemoon. He's got a lot of resources now, a lot of gold, unless he's going to be buying his way to Imperial, which is also another thing that he could do. It looks like he's decided on his victory type, which is sacred sites. We've got the military up here building more rams, not sure exactly why, but I keep coming up to protect that sacred site, and that's going to get that timer ticking over again. We're going to have to see a fight soon for this central gold, because once all of the gold around the map is gone, the English are going to start to struggle unless they can get to Imperial first. But 102 units. Now, this is where... oh, here we go. Let's go in. The mangonels, there we go. See, they just got caught out, all of those spears on top of them. Don't run the cavalry into the spears. And this is where now mass archers are going to beat the horse archers. The spears are beating the knights. And now look at this train that's coming along. These rams are going to make short work of these fortified palisade walls. And the other side has also not been completed, so they could just walk around. But they don't know that. They don't have vision on that yet. Two villagers trying to do a ram pull. Oh, that's such a shame, those villagers. I thought they were going to heal the gate, but they tried to get the ram, so those two guys are going to go down. We can see a Springle there doing God's work, trying to take out those rams, but there's more and more rams coming out. Villagers popping over to try and get those guys down, but look at these military numbers. He's going to have to take some really good fights now if Bluemoon wants to survive, because these numbers are looking very, very scary. The only problem with this is now that Farmer Joe is pop capped, so even with his 2 TCs he's not going to be able to make up that villager lead, and he really needs to be trying to get his villagers over 100 so that he can get his eco really pumping and matching with the Roos and that bounty. Nice little surround. Catching the mangonels on the back, really nice work. Siege taking huge damage there from that cavalry. Are they going to be able to take it out? There we go. So that was really good. That just means all of the archers and the other units are going to survive, but fighting knights with spears is not the best idea, especially with crossbows there as well. So we need to see a lot more ranged units and maybe a horseman shift to get rid of the crossbows. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously we do have some production here. If we take a little look, he's also doing a small push on the front. Don't run the cavalry away. Oh dear, the spears have caught them, so all of those knights are going to be going down, and the archers are not going to be getting them. Oh, that's huge loss there for Bluemoon, and this is really dangerous now. Losing these little pockets of military in different places on the map is potentially going to be what's going to swing it the other way. These numbers and the Berkshire. Okay, I thought I didn't like the TC placement. I thought I didn't like the White Tower placement, but do you know what I don't like more? This. So, this is protecting your base. Absolutely fine. Your base is already protected by 2 English TCs with their machine gun fire. So if we take a little look over here, the rams are trailing in to try and get that keep down. Are the villagers going to be pulled? Are they still around yet? Now, don't go for the rams, heal the keep. That's the main idea here. There we go. So that Berkshire needs to be in the centre. It needs to be stopping that gold. If the Berkshire was dropped here, then that would basically secure all of these, and then English towers can go around it. That's a super great place to attack, and you get the network of citadels in the centre of the map around all of this gold. Now, Bluemoon's been given the opportunity. He's going to build a keep here, and so that's going to secure these and give him a really good spot to push and keep Farmer Joe off these other golds, because that's really where this is going to go. So the keep has gone down, a mangonel popping out but with no backup, so that spear is just going to slowly whittle those resources down, unfortunately, and that's a real shame. So this ram is going to clean up all this stuff. One of these units just needs to go and stand on the sacred site, and then that time is gone. And on the top side it's also ticked off as well. The keep has stayed alive, not fully repaired just yet, so I think the villagers decided that it's alive, so that's fine. And these units just sitting around at the top. When I saw those rams coming in, I definitely try and investigate what's up there so I don't get caught out by a proxy siege workshop or something like that. But we can see Farmer Joe has hit the Imperial Age, and this is where English can get really scary because they get enclosures, and that just means that they build farms, they get tons of food for cheap, and then they turn that food into gold, and their eco is just insane and they have to do nothing. So this is going to protect his base now. This is basically going to be really hard to take, so the fight's going to have to be for sacred sites. We've got a Ribauldequin, which you never see, so I always love to see these kind of units coming out. Does really well against infantry. Obviously we've got lots of cavalry, so maybe not going to be super strong, but I might be wrong. I have been before. So we can see the little proxy keep and production workshop down there has been taken out. The units up here building more rams to take the keep out at the top, and now a couple of units taking out the English. There we go. So taking down that tower and knocking them straight off, and this is where now Farmer Joe is going to be in a really tight spot. He will get passive gold from enclosures, but this is now Roos. Bluemoon is in the Imperial Age as well, and this is where they're at full bounty. They're going to be securing up all of this gold in the center, and their eco is crazy. If we look at those eco numbers, look at this amount of food. If we can turn that into just mass archers, horse archers, mass knights, mass something, that's going to do a huge amount of damage. So we've got a couple of Ribauldequins, we've got the military there, knights, and a full mixture slowly marching forward. So we need to see some more production down, we need to see some more units coming in. If we take a little look at both players, we've got 11 stables and none of them making any horses yet. We definitely want to see a load of knights. We've got upgrades coming in, we've got elite knights, we want to be seeing the poleaxe getting them even more damage, and then just printing units, making as many as you possibly can. That's what we want to be seeing, Bluemoon. And this keep, we want to be seeing the cannon emplacement if we've got enough stones soon coming in, but this base is nice and secure. Look at his side. And although this top side is completely open, so I'd love to see just some little defensive walls just to be careful, just in case, but it's all going to be, as I mentioned, a fight over this central site. So we've got mass horsemen coming to try and circle around and get those archers, but 63 military units there for Farmer Joe, and is he going to be able to get the turnaround on him? The horse archers trying to pinch them in the middle, archers running straight down under that keep, getting the villagers, and oh dear, this is going to be a big one. Who's going to come out on top? Fighting under that keep's not a great position for Farmer Joe, but Bluemoon doesn't quite have the numbers. Knights not quite keeping away from the spears. The spears charging in. Are they going to get them? The Streltsy are going to be working, but they are going to be taken out very quickly by those horsemen. Spears circling around. Oh no, poor Farmer Joe. So when they see them running around in circles like that, what's happened is he's right-clicked on one of the knights, which is caught in the middle, and all of the spears are chasing around trying to get to them. Oh, that's such a shame for Farmer Joe. Not for Bluemoon. You know, for Bluemoon, that's absolutely great. But the keep is going to go up, which means the keeps are just going to basically fire at each other now, but this does give him the network of citadels. So we can see some units at the top trying to get into the eco, damaging those farms, and we can see the military massing up outside the base. We've got crossbows, we've got Streltsy, and Streltsy get that really nice ability that when they stay stationary, they get that extra attack speed. So fighting in a place like this where they're under a keep is a really good idea. I don't know why these units are trying to take out keep. Horses don't eat keeps. That's the counter system in Age of Empires is relatively simple, and yeah, that's definitely not the way it goes. So villager pull, accidentally pulling all those villagers. Again, we've all been there, and the knights are through. They are getting chased by the horsemen, but these guys are going to be able to idle the economy. Whether they get villager down or not, this is going to be idling that food, but that white tower is really dangerous. Don't want to be losing all those units. If we take a look, now Bluemoon is also trying to take out the keep with these units. Definitely pull them back, keep them out of that range, because you want to be massing up these numbers. So that huge fight that Farmer Joe lost here has equalised these numbers, but Bluemoon's got to be really careful to be using his. So he's got loads of food and wood now, so he needs to be producing units as much as he can. I think siege is a good plan, getting some of those. He also has the high armory, which gives you the cost reduction for siege workshops around it, so this should really help, as well as these improved ones. So even ram speed, a load of rams and just slowly running over here and taking that keep out would also do the trick. But yeah, this I think is going to be really scary. Don't run your knights in. Oh no, please. No, that's it. But I can see on the mini-map, I like this. Hello. Oh, this is going to be good. Can he get in? Can he get in quickly? Oh, they just got that wall up. Oh, that was going to be such a good little hit. But just managing to pull that wall up just in time so that those knights can't quite do that damage. And then getting caught out by the spears on the berries. Oh dear, this is a really good fight for Farmer Joe. So another fight swinging it the other way, and that military number for Bluemoon going down. We can see that the bombard is about to be taken out. The Ribauldequin's going, and is it going to get that keep down before it can? Oh, it's so close. It's burning. It's burning. It's not being healed. One more shot, and the keep is down. So the English advantage is gone. The Treb is there, and this Treb needs to be attacking ground. Otherwise, it's going to keep running in, because it's always based on vision. So if we take a little look, there we go. He can see the keep now, but he definitely wants to be attacking ground. So even if it falls out of sight, then he's going to be fine. Bombard attacking just normal units, and all of these spears lurk. This is where we need to use A move, guys. Definitely don't do this, because this is working massively in Bluemoon's favour. Those guys running around, and siege taken out, the ram taken out, and then yeah, all these units in the back are now going to get overwhelmed by those Imperial Bruce units. We've got a defensive keep coming up basically just by the Berkshire, so this is going to be like it's like the keep defense game. We can see these knights running around the base, and all of the others, and Farmer Joe calls it. I think at this stage it was the writing was on the wall, and the bombard was on the field. What an absolutely mad game. here we are just before GG was called to take a little look at the game and see how it went. So quickly, before we run out of time, let's pause it and take a little look. So first of all, let's take a look at Farmer Joe's side. So I think going for the 2TC isn't a bad play. He rushed up the council hall very, very quickly, and I think unless you're going to be going for the longbow rush and really trying to pump out those longbows very, very early to put pressure on, then I think rushing it, even if you wanted to go for council hall, doesn't really make so much sense. Often you only really see a landmark rushed up when you're going to get some value from it, and because it's sat there idle the whole time, you could have just used one. Also, if you're going to be going for the 2TC, I would say the Abbey of the King, getting that free unit to go and poke is always a good idea, but going for the stone first and then going for the safe wood, unless you're going to do the normal split where you gather the stone and the wood at the same time. If you're worried about that pressure from Roost Knights, then I would definitely go for the stone first rather than getting all of the wood, then dropping all the farms, and then trying to get the stone, because it gives them time to get their own TC up and stuff like that. Also, in terms of positioning, I think if this TC was basically where the White Tower is, or maybe slightly closer here, then you would still have all these farms protected, or it could have been further out over here and then would have also given you room inside. I think the White Tower being here is fine. It protects it. It could have actually gone on the stone over there, sorry, the gold at the front, and that would have also basically protected all of this in the same way, but just slightly further forward, because basically what's that securing here? And with these English landmarks, you definitely want to be securing resources. The Berkshire is the one that I really think is in the wrong position, because by this point you've got 2 TCs here, you've got White Tower on the other side, and you've got walls up. For the most part, these were taken out by some Roost Knights. So this Berkshire could have been put, even if it was slightly more defensively here, around these 4 gold. If that would have been here, that would have basically secured over half of these and been a really strong position to push, like this keep was here. So I definitely think putting it there and then basically forcing all of the battles to be here in the center over the gold would have definitely been in a good position, because then you've got the network of citadels and all of that stuff. If we take a little look at his side, does he have the, he doesn't have the upgrade, so this is huge. As soon as you hit Imperial, you need to be getting this network of castles attack speed, because it's double. From 20% bonus to 40%, that's huge. And as English, you should be building towers and keeps and stuff everywhere, so that should be able to, you should be able to take advantage of that quite heavily. In terms of production, I think he has, it's quite a lot. All of his keeps work as production, got loads of stables and barracks, so he was able to really refill his army very, very quickly, which worked really well for him. The farms being set up's good. There is a boar here, so it is important to remember, while English get cheap farms, you can go for the boar and the deer, and also denying the boar and the deer against the roost is really important, because basically all of the bounty was just left on the map for Bluemoon to hoover up. So these villagers definitely should have been getting this deer. So if we take a little look over at Bluemoon's side, I think his base is pretty standard for Roost. We've got loads of farms in the back now that most of the food has been taken. We got the TC on the boar, which worked very nicely, and we got some nice little secure walls to in his base. I definitely think remembering to do both sides so that you don't leave one side open, because if some knights had come around the back here, they would have been able to get all of these villagers and nothing was there to defend them. So that's definitely something you need to be aware of. Also, I would say going for the sacred sites and forcing the fight here on this map where there's only 2 is a good idea, but if you're going to do that, I think you've really got to commit to securing one of them, so bringing all of your military down there, maybe even poking the base at the same time, getting the keep up, getting those defensive things up, and then taking out their units, and then moving to the other one. Trying to do both at the same time, while there's a couple of units out here building rams and trying to take them down, is really quite difficult, and especially when that wall's not been taken up, those units, you're aware of them at the top, so need to be taking care of that. If we take a little look out at Bluemoon's side, what was his final bounty? Let's take a little goosey gander. So he didn't manage to get the 750, and actually he's so close. There is some more hunt, so there's the deer here, there's also the deer here, so this is also the problem with going for the Abbey of the Trinity, because you don't get that free deer. Getting to that tier 3 didn't quite happen. I would also say one thing that Bluemoon definitely had some trouble with here was spears, because he went mass knights, which works perfectly fine. Mass archers is also mass horse archers, also very good with the archers to back up, but the spears kept catching those knights, and they are very expensive to lose against the spears. And also the resources floating here and not massing up those units. I think once you get to Imperial, you just need to be printing those units as much as possible. So obviously these guys are heavy in food and gold, and if we go to the archery range, you basically got wood. So even with all these resources, you could just go mass horse archers and just run through most of their units would also work pretty well. Even just plain horsemen, just getting units on the field, especially with the cavalry buffs that Roos get, would definitely be a really good idea, in my opinion. But definitely taking the fight here, I would say both players made a mistake when they're trying to take out the keeps with units. They definitely want to be using more siege, and the mangonels were a really good idea from Bluemoon coming down here, but because there was no front line, there was no infantry, when the fight happened, I think it was about here, those mangonels were quickly taken out because the knights weren't able to stop the spears just running straight onto them. So always important to remember, if you're going to make the mangonels and your springolds, you need to have some sort of front line. So men-at-arms probably would have been good, even just spearmen, just something to sit on them to keep the units away, so that they can do their work and clear out those infantry. But definitely running knights into spears and crossbows, I would say, is definitely not the right idea. And one final point is a move, guys. I think we all know it, and I'm sure everyone knows it, and these guys all watch this and know exactly what I'm talking about, but when you're attacking, it has to be a move, otherwise your spears are going to run around in circles around all of those units, and then they're going to get absolutely obliterated like they did in this big fight. And really that's what threw it completely in Bluemoon's favour. His eco is obviously substantially stronger, so he was already in a winning position there, but those units just running around and the whole army just disappearing in the blink of an eye really just turned the tables and is what forced Joe to surrender. So a couple of little tweaks there, and both of these players could have had it. It swung both ways, tons of action, and it's always really exciting to see what people are doing with these civilizations. But I hope you've enjoyed this casted game. I hope you enjoyed all the twists and turns, and I'll see you next time for some more Age of Empires action.